Hi, this is Rod Mays with the Edison Group. Today I want to talk a little bit about something that's been on my mind, something I think could change the way you approach your goals in your life. You know, I was walking this morning at 5 a.m., and I do this every morning, and it gives me time to think, to process, to get clear on some things. And as I was walking, I was thinking about this concept of slaying giants. You know, we all have giants in our lives, those big, intimidating, challenging things that seem impossible to overcome. Maybe it's a business goal that feels out of reach, a personal struggle you've been dealing with for years, or a dream that you've been too afraid to pursue. Here's what I realized: the key to slaying giants isn't about having more resources or more time or even more talent. It's about identity, and it's about who you believe you are. So let me explain what I mean. We don't always do the things we do because we want to. Sometimes we do them because we need to. This morning, for example, as I was getting up at 5 a.m., thinking I don't really want to get out of bed, and as I was getting ready to go walk, to go down the hill and back up again to my home, as I was doing that walk, I was thinking, why am I doing this? Because I'm not someone who exercises and works out, but I've decided that that's what I want to be, right? I want to do those things. And here's the reason why that I get up at 5 a.m. Because I've made a commitment to myself. Every little step you make towards becoming your future self is a step towards changing your identity, changing who you are, and believing in yourself. One of the things that happens as we make commitments to ourselves, things we're going to do, and then we don't, we lose integrity towards ourselves. So I'm walking down the hill, right? It's cold. The wind is blowing down my back, into my coat. And again, I'm thinking, what am I doing? The answer that I get is this: I'm creating a new me. I'm reaching for that person that I want to be, right? Not the person that I am, but the person that I want to be. I'm reaching for my future self, one step, one personal commitment at a time. In my future, I see a person who's disciplined, who's achieving the things they want to achieve, who's achieving those goals, who's achieving the success that I want. So every time I climb out of those warm covers, get dressed, go down the hill, endure the chilly weather, and come back, is a vote of confidence towards myself and towards the dreams that I have, the things that I want to accomplish, right? Your mind may argue, it's no big deal, it's just a walk. If you miss it today, no crime. But the reality is, it's a big deal, simply because it's where I want to go. It's the true me I want to be. And so maybe for that first moment of getting out of bed, I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this. But the more I do it and achieve another step towards being the better me, the one that gets out of bed, gets ready, and then goes down that cold hill, he's the one that gets the victory. I can say to myself, I just slayed the giant that says, stay in bed. You can skip today. No one will know, and it will feel better to go back to sleep. If you miss one day, no big deal. When you slay that giant, the first giant of the day, you start your day off as a giant slayer. You put yourself in first place. You achieve goal. The truth is, winning the morning, win the day. And so the next giant that you approach for the rest of the day, whatever that might be, struggles at work, struggles in life, achieving things you'd like to achieve but may be afraid to, these giants are conquered with the confidence of your previous battle. Eventually you'll slay enough giants that you'll see yourself as a true giant slayer. You'll become someone who can achieve whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. Whatever hope, goal, or dream that you'd like to experience, you can. That's the real reason. That's the purpose. That's why I get out of bed at 5 a.m. Not because it's making me all that much healthier. It's only 20 minutes, and reality, honestly, half the walk is downhill. But that process of slaying that giant that says, the one that says, don't get out of bed, this doesn't matter, this won't make a difference. That process of slaying that giant takes you another step forward. One more reach towards that person, that future you, the future vision of yourself that you are trying to live today. So whether it's getting up at 5 a.m., walking at 5 p.m., or 10 p.m., it's not about what you do. It's about fulfilling the commitment that you made to yourself. It's about your personal integrity towards you. It's about building your identity as someone who slays giants to become a future self. Not someone who's learning to slay giants, but a giant slayer. When you're true to your word to yourself, you're true to your word in other things also. It spills over, right? You don't water down your integrity to the world, and especially not to yourself. So today, ask yourself, what are my giants? What giant do I need to slay today? And what giant am I going to slay today? And then do it. Go slay that giant. Work on becoming the person you want to be. One step at a time, one giant slaying at a time. Now, this is something I can't emphasize enough. Do it one step at a time. Do one small thing. Set yourself up to succeed. I've wanted to play the guitar since I was 18. In fact, the guitar that I worked on, I bought a year before I graduated from high school. I took lessons, but I always found reasons that I just couldn't find the time to practice. I only dabbled in becoming the type of guitar player that I dreamed of. I didn't actually see my future guitar self and then take steps to live for it in the present. Right? I reminded myself of the commitment that I talk about in my book, From Someday to Success. I went back to what I call the 5-minute agreement. The idea where you commit to doing something for just 5 minutes. Not 10, not 15, not 30, just 5 minutes. Your mind, your arguments, they can't argue with 5 minutes. And if you need to quit after 5 minutes, fine. There's no judgment, right? Because you only agreed on 5 minutes. But do you know something? If you spend 5 minutes every day on something, you'll actually spend over 30 hours a year working on that skill, that goal, that dream. And so I tell myself every day, I'm not trying to become an expert guitar player. I'm trying to become disciplined, right? In my life and the guitar. And the guitar is just a vehicle to get me there. So I made a commitment to myself, and there's no way I can argue with 5 minutes. When David faced Goliath, he didn't see himself as a shepherd boy going up against a warrior. He saw himself as someone who knew who he was and as someone who stood up for the God he loved. He had an identity as a giant slayer before he ever faced the giant. That's really powerful. He knew who he was before he went up against Goliath. That's the difference between people who accomplish extraordinary things and people who don't. So I started thinking about my life and the giants I'm facing, and I realized that I needed to get clear on my identity when I first started into this transformation process. And what I started with was, who am I at my core? Because truly, you can't slay giants if you don't know who you are. You'll be operating from a place of insecurity, doubt, fear. But when you're grounded in your identity, when you know exactly who you are, those giants start to look a lot smaller. I want to share something with you, kind of personal, something that I've been working on now for some time. It's what I call my I am statements, and I go over this in more detail in the book, From Someday to Success. These I am statements, these are declarations of identity, not aspirations, not goals, but truths about who I am right now. And I've found that when I write these statements regularly, my subconscious accepts the new me. My confidence improves, my decision making improves, and my ability to face challenges improves. So let me share with you a few of my I am statements. I'm just going to go to this list. I'm a child of God. I'm a loving husband and father. I'm someone who looks for the best in people. I'm a leader and I believe in myself. I'm an expert on success, identity, and the subconscious. I'm a best-selling author and I wrote 52 books. I'm a master of my soul. I'm a presenter who is in high demand. I'm a wonderful guitar player. I'm the host of the EG podcast. And I'm a disciplined giant slayer. That last one, I'm a giant slayer, that's the one that's been resonating with me lately. Because when you declare that, you're not waiting to become a giant slayer. You're claiming that as your current identity, right? Think about it for a second. If you're trying to build a business, you can't wait until you have $1 million company to call yourself an entrepreneur. You have to claim that identity now. If you want to be a great parent, you can't wait until your kids are grown and successful to call yourself a great parent. You have to step into that identity today. The same principle applies to every area of your life. If you want to be financially free, you have to start seeing yourself as someone who is financially wise and disciplined right now. If you want to be healthy, you have to claim that identity of a healthy person today. Not after you lose the weight or run the marathon, because truly, your identity shapes your actions and your actions shape your results. It all starts with who you believe you are. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, Rod, isn't that just fake it till you make it? And I want to be really clear about this. This is not about being inauthentic or lying to yourself. This is about aligning your identity with the truth of who you're created to be. It's about stepping into your potential instead of waiting for permission or perfect circumstances. When I'm out there walking at 5 a.m., I'm not just exercising my body. I'm exercising my mind. I'm rehearsing my identity. I'm reminding myself of who I am so that when the giants show up, and they will, I'm ready. I'm not scrambling to figure out if I'm capable. I already know that I am. So here's my challenge to you today. Write down your I am statements. Get clear on your identity. Write them daily. Who are you really? Not who you want to be someday, but who you are right now. Describe your future self as your present self. What truths about yourself do you need to declare and believe? And then start living from that space. Make decisions from that identity. Face your giants from that reality. Because when you know who you are, giants don't stand a chance. Remember, you're not trying to become a giant slayer. You're already a giant slayer. You just need to believe it and act like it. So I've written a book, From Someday to Success, that can help with the transformation that we're talking about today. So I'd encourage you to go on Amazon and get your copy of it. Thanks for listening today. This is Rod Mays from the Edison Group. Now go out there and slay your giants.